Ever since I can remember this chant, this song. It's the Chiefs Tomahawk. It's something that every Kansas City Chiefs fan should know and be able to join in on a heartbeat. It's like that family video that you always watch on Christmas. And it happens at every Chiefs game, much like that video is played every Christmas Day. Whether home or away, it's a tradition that must be done, and especially when you're home. And speaking of homes, let's talk about Arrowhead Stadium, the jewel of the Chiefs kingdom. For me, it's like Disney Park. I go there every weekend. I'll never get bored of it. The atmosphere, the size, the noise, the food, everything is simply put divinity in its true form to me. But that's the now. That's what I feel about the stadium today. And I never got to go that jewel of a home until I was older. No, I had to watch the Kansas City Chiefs on an old CRT television. You know those old blocky televisions where the screen looked more like blurs of color running around than actual people? That's where I learned to love the Kansas City Chiefs from, in front of CRT television with my family. It was a family bonding moment, just like going to church on every Sunday, but instead, we'd watch football. And even though my father and mother, who were a pilot and flight attendant, were often physically thousands of miles away, we would still all try and watch the game and talk about it afterwards, either over the phone, through text, email, or whatever means we had. The most memorable moment when I was younger, and from when this family tradition started, is with the human joystick, Dante Hall, a man who on the football field would make you think he was a character in a video game. That's how fast he was, how quick he was. This is when I truly got into football and became a fan of the Chiefs. That show of athleticism, it enraptured me, and I eventually found myself playing football as well, trying to imitate it. I would play it into high school while still watching it with family and talking about football constantly, whether in the fall or in the spring of the year. It didn't matter. It had become a year-round event for me and my family. But then as I grew older, I found others like me, fans who loved the sport, and specifically the Kansas City Chiefs on fan forums on the internet. ArrowheadAddict.com, ArrowheadPride.com, KCChiefs.com, ESPN, and so on and so on. I found myself in my later years of high school spending more and more time writing about the Kansas City Chiefs than doing actual school projects. I started studying the sport and players for future draft picks just so I could get my semi-educated opinion on who we should pick, who we should trade for, who we should pick up in free agency. I was my own mini GM. I exhausted hours into the sport beyond just simply watching it, and I wasn't the only one doing this. Hundreds of others, if not thousands, are all doing the same thing and still are doing the same thing that I was. However, with college, I got away from being so heavily invested in writing about it, or even studying the sport extensively. I stopped playing it my sophomore year of high school. However, I still read about it constantly. I'm still heavily invested in the sport and the Kansas City Chiefs. But really, the highlight for the Kansas City Chiefs in my mind and about football hasn't been the time I wrote about them, or when I played the sport, or when I started watching it with my family. Really, the biggest impact the sport has had for me was in 2016. Because in 2016, my father was diagnosed with throat cancer. His cancer is now in remission, and he is doing well, great even. But the chemo and radiation treatments, they really took their toll on him when he was sick. For myself during this time, I found myself away from the house a lot, probably more than I should have been really. I was running away from the issue at hand, yet still, every Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, whenever the Chiefs were playing, I made sure I was home. It was a bonding moment, and I just can't ever visualize myself not watching the Kansas City Chiefs play. It's become more than just a tradition or a bonding moment. It has become a memory, one I'm greatly fond of and don't ever want to lose. It's something I plan to do with my own future family because, simply put, at this point in my life, I can't visualize a life out watching the Kansas City Chiefs play football. It's beyond just being a fan of the team. It's more than just watching the team play. It's like watching family play because they've always been there and I hope they'll continue to always be there.